And welcome to Comcast Newsmakers. I'm Steve Swatt. In this segment, we're going to talk to you about how you can gain your 15 minutes of fame. My guest this segment is Carter Scott, who's the producer and host of Puffy Owl's Tell Your Story on San Joaquin Television, local access. Thank you very much for being with us.
You're welcome.
First, in the way of background, I want to ask you how you started this program, and I think part of it had to do with your background in college. You were a star basketball player at Ohio State.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, I'm Steve. I'm originally from Ohio, state of Ohio. My high school team was ranked #1 in the nation in basketball. I got a 4-year scholarship to play for The Ohio State University. And 1979, January edition, I was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. And for like 30 years, I never really talked about my basketball experience. I coached here at Lincoln High School. I won All-Area Coach of the Year my very first year as a girls varsity coach here at, for Lincoln in 1995-96. And then from there, I kind of had various different jobs, but a late friend of mine told me the idea about, he Googled my name. He told me to tell my story. And I'm like, oh, everybody has a story to tell, but once he died at age 35, I'm in the financial service industry. I went to his house on October 23rd, and he actually was sick. The next day, he was dead. And
so you took his advice and decided to sort of tell your story and to get others in the community to tell their stories, right?
Yes, you know, like I said, to me, I'm a very humble, quiet person. I really don't like, it's hard to talk about yourself. So what I've done, I created this show in memory of Damon, Sean Bendy, for others to come on and talk about their story or their changes or what they might be going through. And what it does, it helps educate, or whoever's watching that show might learn something from the community. I don't necessarily need superstars or celebrities on my show. I just want common people who are out there in the trenches every day.
And so for, what, 2 years, or a little over 2 years, you've been doing this every week on Monday evenings?
Yes, 2.5 years. We started in February. My very first guest was Jeromia Johnson. His son was brutally murdered at Edison High School. He had just received a letter to go to Fresno State for a football scholarship, and he was going back to track practice, and there was a gang initiation. They chose him to shoot and kill. And I had ties with the Edison High School, and I saw him. I said, you know, he's going to be my first guest. I asked him to be my first guest. He was my first guest, talked about the death of his son. He actually did the memorial service for his son, and now he's my cameraman.
Is that right? Give us another example of another memorable interview.
Probably one of two of the most memorable was Donna Goldberg. Her mother was the second wife of 10 in a polygamous cult relationship, marriage. And what I learned from them is, like, every time they had a child, they said the poverty level went lower and lower. You know, they had 10 wives. Her husband had 10 wives. Her father had 10 wives and 58 kids. So you can imagine what it's like living under one roof with very little income coming in. Then another lady was Jordan Hollis. She wrote a book on, it was about Tougaloo 9. There was 9 black students that went into a all-white library in the 1960s. And it incited they were arrested. It incited a riot outside the jail where dogs would turn on people. And for 30 years, she was a teacher up in Oakland, and she never once talked about her past.
These are very interesting stories that I imagine don't get aired elsewhere. How do you find these interviews?
I found them in Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Really?
In the line of Kentucky Fried Chicken. Everywhere I go, someone has a story to tell. And if you just talk to them and approach them, you find yourself, before you know it, they're on my show. A lot of times, just like yourself, you meet me 5 minutes before the show started, and we start talking, and we do the show. And the show lasts 27 minutes. We don't edit anything, we don't cut anything, we just talk from our hearts.
And can anybody be on your program, or do you sort of try to filter out those you think may not be interesting?
It's strange that you ask that. Right now, anyone can be on the show. If we have time to put you on the show, we will put you on there. Even if right now I have a waiting list to be on the show. My last guest came from from Oakland, California to be on the show. My guest this week is coming from San Francisco to be on the show.
It's fascinating. Well, we're out of time, but this is very interesting. It seems like you have some very great guests, and you can be seen every Monday night at 5 p.m. on Channel 26. San Joaquin Valley Television. That's great. Thank you very much for coming by.
You're welcome, Steve.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And thanks to our viewers for watching Comcast Newsmakers. I'm Steve Swatt. We'll see you next time.